start in 2 minutes.
Yes, Toddy, the chocolate malt in a can.
It's so good hot. It's so good cold.
It hits the spot with young and old.
Yes, Toddy pleases everybody. Delicious chocolate malted toddy, made with rich, real milk, not powdered milk.
So come and get it, everybody. It's time to drink your chocolate toddy.
Just a minute, folks.
You know, it's really hard being your own tech. Let me tell you, folks. Here I am. Hi, guys and gals. How are you? We are here tonight, back to Buffalo and beyond. Before we begin the show, a couple of things. Very important stuff. You see that right there? Well, that's all about artists. And we're just trying to start things up again. It's the red alert, a red alert to begin the arts again, to begin shows again, to begin events again. We make events, lots going on. If you need food, folks, right here, Plaza Live tomorrow, Friday, I should say, 11:30 to 1 p.m. Come down. Don't be proud. Just come down and get the help you might need. It's not tons, but you know what? It's something. And let me tell you something else. And I really do have hair, guys. Trust me. It just doesn't show. And let me tell you something else. If you missed the applause, come down. We're going to give you some of that applause tomorrow. Okay? So come on down and see us. Check out the music. There's a band playing. There's usually a band or somebody singing. There's always something going on. It's a lot of fun. We're going to do that again on Thursday at 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. at St. Luke's over on Apopka Vineland Road in Orlando. That's the other side of town. So no excuse. You can get down there. If you want to volunteer, they need volunteers. They would love to have you, gang. So come on down and do that. Right now, let's get on with the show. Ladies and gentlemen, all the way from beautiful downtown Buffalo, Elmwood Avenue, I think, Jame Cichocki. There he is, folks. Hi, James.
Hey, Joe. Good to see you.
Wow, good to see you. Wow. Geez, that's wonderful to see you. How are you, sir?
I'm doing well tonight. It's been a busy day. It's kind of funny. I was remarking earlier that I spent months doing absolutely nothing. And in the last couple of weeks, things have just gotten crazy busy around here. So,
it's interesting. I'm retired now, not really voluntarily, but because there's not a hell of a lot I can do on my feet. I got kind of sick down over in Japan. Long story short, they damn near killed me, and I came back, and I'm on disability. I once said, if that's the worst thing that could happen to me, okay. And then this came. So never say those words, let me tell you.
Right.
I'm excited tonight to have you guys here. We are here with somebody who we both know very well. and we both got to work with three times, at a place called Rubens Backstage, and I think a couple other places too. I forgot that I worked with a long time before that too. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I am so thrilled to introduce to you the one and only Mr. MIchael LARocca, all the way from Buffalo.
Wow, what an intro.
My God! Oh my gosh, James! I've got to tell you, I didn't have the comments up. 1 second, Michael. But I got to tell you, Richie Waits is here with us.
Hi.
Richard Waits, and he says, "My Pippin." So, wait a minute. Did you and I do that together too?
No, I did it at the Lancaster Opera House with the late Diane Vicina as my stepmother Fistrada, and the late Debbie Culber as my beautiful Berta.
And the late Debbie Culber was our music.
And the wonderful Richie Waits was my leading player.
And Michael, at Rubens, Debbie did the music for that, didn't she, or no?
Yes, it was either Debbie or Donnie did the music for our Pippin at Rubens.
It's a scary freeze. It was a scary freeze for a second. Your face was. Yeah, it was either her or Donnie, of course.
Yeah,
did
the music. Yeah.
And that was a great show. That was I did that a couple of times. Once with you, Michael, as leading player, and the late and truly missed, I'm sure, by everybody. I know I miss him, at least on here. I don't get to see the Tom Tricoli.
Right.
Tommy was a great guy, and Tommy played Pippin in that particular show. Looked a lot like that fella right there, as a matter of fact.
That's my Pippin. No, that's my Pippin.
Is that you?
That was me in 1978 when I first played Pippin at Mr. Anthony's Dinner Theater.
Oh my gosh!
Gail Wiegand was directed the show, and that was my first starring role in a musical. And my dog is named Pippin.
See what you did? You dressed him just like you, is what you did.
That's me. That was me, 1978.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Now I look at it, you're right. Of course you are. You did it. Tommy did some great stuff. Tommy was one of the performers there, and we lost Tommy some years ago. Very sad to say.
And I was actually fortunate enough to get to know Tommy again in the late 90s when we were both living in New York.
You were indeed, weren't you? Yes.
I would go and see him. He would be bartending and performing at the Duplex in the Village, and I lived right around the corner. And so I would go in. It was kind of one of my neighborhood bars, and I got to hang out with Tommy 20 years after we all worked together.
You know, it's funny. I have been drunk in there a number of times, and during that period of time, I was doing a show in the city, and I should have. I don't know why we didn't run into each other somehow. That's strange.
It was before social media. It was before we were able to connect like this.
That's true.
We all sent Christmas cards once a year if we were lucky.
I always met someone. If I was in New York, if I was driving, yeah, who the hell drives in New York? Walking anywhere, I met someone I knew every single time. It was insane. And not just one, but a number of people. So, like I say, but we were drinking in the same establishment. I mean, we were probably drunk in the same establishment any number of times as well. There you go. Michael,
yes,
you finished when you finished in Buffalo. You went to do some amazing stuff.
Yeah, I really did. I had an incredible career. Really incredible. No, I started with the Miss America organization in 1984, but I was still performing here. And then in 1986, I had been with the Miss America USO troupe for a while. We had just finished the 4th of July at the Statue of Liberty, and we performed for President Reagan, which was amazing. And then when I came back, they needed someone to take over the Miss Arizona pageant, because at that time it was the worst pageant in the United States.
Is that the Is that?
That's
No,
the
that's-
Statue of Liberty show, right?
Yeah,
That's the
yeah,
Statue
yeah.
of Liberty show.
I'm sorry, James. You're in the middle there. You're getting covered.
That's all right.
Yeah,
I'm
that's
seeing,
like,
I'm seeing my friend David Swan and my friend David DeLuca and
right.
the legendary Brooke Shields, of course.
And the legendary. That was Dorothy Benham, Miss America, 1977. We did many shows together.
Who's that fella next to her?
Me, at 27 years
Was that
old.
the same show right there, Michael?
No, this was a tour, a USO show tour I did with Miss New York. It was just the two of us, and we traveled all throughout New York State. That was in 1985-86.
I've got to tell you, folks, Michael sent me some of the coolest photos, and I could not upload all of them here like I wanted to. And I can't
it's a
find
G-rated show.
Well, there is that. but there were so many really wonderful shots, and unfortunately, like I say, I couldn't. I think that's a USO show.
I have to tell a quick story about this USO show. That was on the USS John F. Kennedy for the Statue of Liberty 100th birthday. We were docked in the middle of New York Harbor for a week. We rehearsed there for a week on the ship. Now, I was also co-choreographer of the show, and Deneen Graham, who's a former Miss North Carolina, she and I choreographed the show together. And we did that in various areas of the country, and then we put the whole show together on the Kennedy the week before we performed.
Oh my gosh.
That night, here I was, this kid from Buffalo, performing with Brooke Shields, and Carl Weathers was our master of ceremonies. And the Navy Orchestra. Yeah, it was really cool. And 5,000 people on the ship, the president and first lady in the front row. And I got to sing New York, New York with the entire city in front of my face. Frank Sinatra and Liza Minnelli haven't had that experience.
No, and I'll tell you, wow, that's awesome.
That was like, I'm singing it and I'm going, I can't believe I'm like doing this, and the whole city's right there in front of me. It was really cool.
Oh, guys, you're not going to, I just knocked over my glass. Excuse me, just a moment. You're not going to believe it, but Emily Perry is watching all the way from Donegal, Ireland.
Hi, Emily.
How about that?
Yes.
I got my glass now. I'm happy. By the way, you'll notice that each of us is wearing red tonight. That is in honor of and trying to keep people knowing about the red alert for artists. I want to push that because I really believe in that cause. Michael, I got to tell you that's I had kind of a similar experience doing 1776 as a fill-in for the guy who was playing Franklin. I wound up going up playing Franklin in Pennsylvania, going down. Yeah. And I wound up going down. I was still in Buffalo at that time. Towards the end of my time in Buffalo, I played Franklin in 1776 in the mall, and right over there was Independence Hall, and just in between us and that was the Liberty Bell. Talk about trippy, That was insane. And with 2 rehearsals, no less. That was nuts. Anyway, that's cool. Now let's go back. Let's go way back. And James, please feel free to interject anywhere you like and ask questions.
I'm afraid if he does that.
And those of you in the audience, I want you guys to feel free to ask questions. You're frightening the daylights out of me already, both of you. I want you all to feel free to ask questions. Share the stream. Let everybody know we're here because they've got to see these guys and talk to them. Now, Michael and James, let's go way back. Let's go at least this far back. How's that? Yeah, I looked at that and almost had a stroke. God, I was fat. Okay. Anyways, but we go back to Rubens Backstage in Buffalo, New York, down on Chippewa and Pearl Street. That was quite the time, right, Michael? You were artistic director, everything there. You were the one-man show, pretty much.
Well, myself, Gail Wiegand, Tom Tricoli. We had a good staff of people. Emily was our assistant stage manager. She was there for a while.
She was.
Yeah.
Indeed she was.
No, it was an incredible place because we were doing Bravo Broadway, which was the show that we started in 1979, and we moved it to Rubens in 1980. And then there were several versions of Bravo Broadway. We came back in 1982. There's a little flyer from it. We came back in 1982, and that's when it really took off. And Gail and I said, well, why don't we do some shows here as well? So there were nights where we were on stage from 8 at night until 1 in the morning.
Oh my
because
gosh.
we would do the musicals early, and then we would do Bravo Broadway late night. So it was really an incredible place for young artists in Buffalo. We were very successful at the time, but that's when dinner theater was still big. And I think everybody that worked there really enjoyed their experience at Rubens, and with all of us, we really did become more of a family. And the funny thing now through social media is that we have all reunited. We have all come back together. Our friendships are like they were 30 years ago.
It's funny that you say the dinner theater was big back then, yet we did dinner theater small. We did Hello Dolly with a cast of 10 people
On a postage stamp.
with
Oklahoma,
Julie Kitsley walking the bar.
Yes.
Absolutely.
That was our runway. Yes.
It was.
Yes. Pick up your entree plates, folks. Julie's got to walk the bar. Richard, I've got to get used to you guys with the names that aren't the same ones I used to use. You in the middle, especially. And forgive me if I do it, but I don't think I will. Richard Waits just brought up a name. Well, he brought it up twice, but the second time he did it right. Becky Bittner. Becky was our stage manager for quite a few shows. Yes. And we've lost. Becky's father was also my history teacher for quite a few years. Yeah, believe it or not. Becky was a sweet lady. We've lost Becky too. We've lost so many great people. Debbie Culber and Diane Bicene. Oh my God, I don't want to go there.
At such young ages too.
Indeed, that's just so depressing to think of.
Becky and I became very close during that time.
Oh yeah,
and her mother, after she died, I was performing in Las Vegas, and my first Las Vegas magazine cover came out the day after she died.
Oh my goodness.
It was this real bittersweet kind of thing, because here I lost one of my dearest friends in the world. In fact, Diane Bicene, another story, called me because Becky died on December 22nd. And Diane called me and she said, "What are you doing?" And I said, "I'm baking Christmas cookies." And she said, "Turn off the oven." Because she knew I was going to lose it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So I turned off the oven and she told me. But a couple of months after that, Mrs. Bittner came to Las Vegas with some beautiful mementos and things that of Becky she wanted me to have. And that was very sweet. So, yeah.
That's lovely. That's lovely. Yeah, she was a sweet lady. Becky, she was my across the hall neighbor.
We shared an apartment with Diane Peterson on that corner of Delaware and Allen Street. When I was first hired to work for Rubens, Michael hired me when I was 16 years old to play his sidekick.
You didn't know that at the time, did you? He couldn't be. There was no way he could have been working at a bar at 16 years old.
And I didn't hire a 16-year-old boy. He auditioned for a play and he got accepted.
Yes.
Hired you.
Hiring would mean you got paid, and
I lived way out in the city of Tonawanda, and so Becky basically let me just move in with her. And I lived with her while we were doing Dolly and Grease and Charlie Brown, and into that summer after I graduated high school. It was kind of cool, like being 16 years old and being liberated from your parents and living with Becky Bittner.
So when we were stuck in that quiet little hole together under the stage during Hello, Dolly.
I forgot we entered through the trap.
You were just you were young, that young?
I was 16 years old.
Oh God, I was committing a felony. Okay.
On the bright side, the statute of limitations is probably out on that. It's not like you were a scout leader.
And you know what? I was an altar boy. I was used to it.
Okay. There we go.
Now, I have a little series of photographs here that I'm going to run through. These. When Michael, you sent me, you made my jobs, both of you did, made my jobs so very easy this particular time, because usually I'm hunting and pecking through photos on Facebook, and you all sent me so much stuff. It was wonderful.
We know how to market ourselves.
I hope so. Yeah, every actor should. But and I'm going to go through these fairly quickly because they are themed. Okay. Michael, there's Michael. But you know what? Here's another one of Michael. You get the theme. And here's Michael again. I can remember. Now, James, tell me you cannot remember that when he got. I don't even. It might be the same jacket for all. I might even be at Rubens for all I know. This particular picture, but that jacket, when he got that jacket, and the first time, not the first time he did that, but the first time he did that in that jacket, I can certainly remember that. In fact, he even commented, "I have the jacket. This is really going to work."
He had more than one of those jackets, though.
Did he really?
Oh,
one of the first
am I wrong, Michael?
First one.
What?
Did you have more than one of those jackets?
Oh yeah, yeah.
But not
there was a black one, and I know that there was like a purpley one.
There's the purpley
one.
The purple one. There was a red one and a black one.
But the purple one was pretty much the first one, wasn't it?
Right. Purple one was the first one. Right.
Why do I know that? Okay. I am the official keeper of the Michael LARocca trivia. But I remember when, and of course you were singing, and I'm willing to bet, and if I was guessing, over the rainbow, no? What was it?
New York, New York.
Oh, you're right. You're absolutely right. You see, I had a segue and I didn't use it earlier. Darn. Yeah. I'm getting a big kick out of some of the Richie Waits just went, oh my God. Very funny. Richard.
Love you too, Richard.
Wow, this is so much fun. I'm having a good time myself. We had a great time there at Rubens with the Messinas, Phil and his wife. Oh my goodness. Ruthie, right? Ruthie Messina. Beautiful people.
They came before Phil died. They came to Las Vegas to see me.
Oh, how wonderful.
And to have them, I mean, here I am in Las Vegas, my name's up in lights and all that other fun stuff. And the people that really kind of gave me my start, more or less, in the nightclub business, were there. And I finally got to kind of show off a little bit, if you will, for them.
You're
buying them drinks and, giving them dinner and things like that. It was quite wonderful. There is a picture somewhere. I don't know if I have it on Facebook, though.
I have a really interesting Ruthie Messina story.
Please.
We were doing cabaret. Michael played the MC to perfection with my beautiful friend Julie Kitsley as Sally Bowles, Mary-Kate O'Connell, John Biscaglia. There we go. So I played Christina, one of the Kit Kat girls. And as lights came up, I was in a corset and panties and thigh-high fishnets with garter belts and the whole deal. And I was standing on a dinner table in the middle of the restaurant, and I would slide down a pole to get to the floor and then make my way up to the stage. The night my parents came to see the show, Ruthie Messina thought it would be hysterical to seat them at the table that I started out on. And so as lights come up, I start pulsating. And then as I go to get down off the table, I see my parents looking up in horror. And Ruthie thought it was hysterical.
Oh, I would have. You know what? I think it's hysterical even now. Even now, your parents looking up at their little boy.
Oh dear.
That is me on Romper Room at the age of 4.
Indeed it is. And from that to that, I can actually remember you in that outfit, James. And I can what I can remember now in thinking back on that after watching RuPaul's Drag Race, you didn't tuck. I recall. Yeah. Anyways, not too long ago.
Oh, I have something. I can't say it. Never mind.
Okay.
G-rated.
Really. We had a reunion of the Rubens Backstage crew, which you, young man, missed. But we had people like this lady right here,
Corinne Melanson.
Corinne Melanson, who's now done some amazing stuff.
Yes.
I saw her a couple years back with Michelle Ragusa. Michelle was playing Mame, and Corinne was playing Vera. Yeah. They were brilliant, I might add. Michael, one of my favorite memories of Buffalo was Curtain Up and starting the season. And I remember one year where the season was started with somebody who looked like this lady right here next to you.
Ginger Rogers.
That is Ginger Rogers. Yes, indeed. Ginger Rogers came to Buffalo, and Michael was right there next to her to escort her down a big, long staircase.
At the Shays Buffalo Theater.
That's right, which, as I recall, she was not expecting one little bit. And lovely lady, but did not have much patience, as I remember.
The interesting thing, the next day, Gail Wiegand, who was in charge of that whole ad for Buffalo, Gail said to me, "Do you want to go back to take Ginger Rogers and her assistant to the airport?" And I said, "Sure." Now, when I met her on the day we shot that, and she was already in makeup and hair done. Went to pick her up at her hotel, and she looked like anybody's grandma. She didn't have a wig on. She didn't have all the theatrical makeup on. And she just looked like anybody's grandma. It was so sweet to see her out of character, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
Because, again, those stars in those days were primed, and they were told what to do, what to say, how to look, who to be with.
24/7.
Exactly. And, we're the Hollywood stars of today don't have as much of that other than don't come out of the closet. But true.
Even today, today, come out of the closet, do whatever the hell you want.
Well, yeah, I know, but you're still anyway. So it was really nice to see her like that, to see her as the real person and not Ginger Rogers, which is a lot of the celebrities I've worked with. I've had the opportunity to do that with, like Debbie Reynolds.
Who? Debbie Reynolds, you say?
Yes. That's my one and only picture with her.
Is it? Isn't it funny how you get? I have met so many people and haven't got a picture with any of them.
That was her 65th birthday party, and there were 3 shows at her hotel. The Debbie Reynolds show was first. The Michael LaRocca show, my show, was second, and the Kenny Kerr show, he was a female impersonator, very big in Vegas. His was the late night show. Well, this producer had come in from California to produce the Debbie Reynolds birthday show, and I performed, and Kenny and I were to host the event. and he got sick, so I ended up hosting the whole thing by myself. But when you're working with somebody like that, you're especially before all of our telephones had cameras, you don't want to walk around and say, "Oh, can I have a picture with you?" You're working with these people. Mm-hmm. So that one was just somebody in the audience took that picture, and that's my one and only picture with her. Interesting.
And Joanne Rubino Bracco?
That's my cousin. Hi, Joanne.
Oh, cuz love you.
Is that the Joanne, your cousin from the legendary long ago duo of Joanne and Judy?
No. No.
Okay.
No.
Yeah, when you're meeting celebrities, it's very difficult. You know, I got a small taste of that being in the position I was in at Disney. And people coming up to you, and people did. You know, if you went out to dinner at Disney, we go out to dinner every now and again, Grand Floridian or whatever, just when special people were in town, and people would walk up to you and say, "Hey, can I have a picture taken with you?" And you're like, "Dinner, you know." I get it, but you always do it because you don't want to be a jerk, especially on Disney property. At least that was my thing. That I had to deal with. We did a lot of great stuff. Going back to Rubens for a second, this is one of my favorites right here. Michael and David.
My godmother said when she saw me in Greece, she reminded me of my dad in the 50s.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
And then there was this. I laugh. And you'll know why I'm laughing when I show you this picture. And it's in that particular scene, too. Michael took over as Curly. And the first night we never really had a proper rehearsal, did we?
No,
Michael?
we didn't.
And I had never seen Michael in his costume and with his hair done the way he would have it done as Curly. And I was playing Judd. And Michael came in and... he had curled the hair in the front a lot. Not only did he tease it, he may have pissed it off, okay? I was fine until he started singing Poor Judd is Dead. And then it was almost like a Torch song, looking at him with the curly hair and everything. And my mind started thinking of everything but Oklahoma in a recent film, and I lost it. I completely lost my shit right then and there. That was nuts.
I did not remember the lyrics to that song all too well that first night.
No, and I couldn't help you because I was in convulsions. But that was a lot of fun. We had that was Oklahoma literally on a postage stamp. How big was that stage? What?
Oh God, I don't even remember. And they took it down now too.
I saw that.
I mean, like 12 by 12, maybe.
Maybe a little bit bigger than that. And then we added the extension onto it, off the front, and then the ramp, and then the staircase.
Yep.
That we had going down to. So we added all that onto it.
Yeah.
But
well, it was originally a strip club. It was a strip club, was it not?
Yeah.
Once upon a time?
Yeah. And the strippers used to walk out on that big horseshoe bar that went from the stage all the way around. Yeah.
And so did you.
I was going to say, so in other words, Julie Kitsley followed a grand parade of strippers out onto that stage when she played Dolly.
Right. Excellent. That used to be the stage door. That was the stage door.
Yes.
Yeah.
At one time.
There were pictures of the strippers up in the dressing rooms. There were 8x10s up there.
And the fact is, it was a classy damn strip joint. If what I heard was true, and some big names worked there. I believe, like gypsy type big names. And James worked there. Yes, sir.
Guilty as charged.
You strip there? You're that old? I mean, honey, I knew you were old, but I didn't think you were.
He stripped there, but
from the inside out.
We'll tell about that. You guys are crazy. I love this. Here's somebody that we have something in common with, Michael, the guy next to you here.
Rob Schiller.
Rob Schiller, yes.
King of Queens Schiller. No.
Indeed. Rob had a little production company called the Peter Piper Players.
Right.
And I had this wild flashback not too long ago that I don't think you recall, Michael. We did The Emperor's New Clothes together.
Yes, I remember that.
Yes, yes. And I remember it distinctly because I was this fat high school gay kid. I had just turned 18, and Michael was really the first homosexual I really ever met. And oh shit, I didn't know. Anyways, but
Same.
But I was stunned at that time. I loved you, but that was my first real experience with someone who wasn't in high school with me. That we didn't do anything, mind you. It wasn't weird. It was just that there was this guy who was there he was, and yeah, and I was like, oh geez.
Michael, you were actually my
16
second.
years old. I mean, my God, you guys, I was like committing felonies.
Michael, you were actually the second homosexual I met. The first was Lee Chappell.
And Lee is still around.
Lee is in New York City. It's another funny story. I moved to New York City in '88, and my roommate said to me, "I saw a guy that looked like Lee Chappell in our lobby." Lee lived one floor up in one apartment.
Oh, how fun!
Yeah. So I got to spend
Great
all sorts of time with Lee back in the '80s and '90s.
Yeah.
He is living in Brooklyn. He is a club promoter and a party promoter. He sings jazz at a cute little brunch club on the weekends.
Lee Chappell, the guy who made the costume guy.
Fabulous costumer. Yeah. He became one of New York City's premier party promoters.
No kidding.
Good for him.
Kidding. Yeah, there's a funny story about that, but I won't tell it. If Paula McCarr was here, she'd probably tell it. I won't tell that one. The beans. He made bean costumes because they picketed. Paula and two other people
remember that.
dressed as beans.
Yes, for the no bean chili at the Buffalo Cook-Off or something, right?
And there was things happened. It was right around the same time Oklahoma, and the beans. They were. There was a problem. There was a problem for those guys. They all wound up with extra friends after that for a little bit.
Oh. You probably need shampoo and a comb to get rid of them.
Bingo! Bingo! And I remember we were all terrified going into Oklahoma going, oh my God!
But they were in the costumes?
They were in the bean costumes, yes.
Oh my God.
And he had just done the costumes for Oklahoma, and we were going to open it. Oh, fuck! But it didn't happen, thank God. I don't think it. No, we'd remember that, I'm sure. And I have to apologize. Lee, I'm sorry. I shouldn't have brought that up. I apologize, but too late.
Well, it probably wasn't his fault, you know. I mean,
and then Melinda is now Melinda Capellis. Melinda Capellis is now saying
Capellis.
The dish.
Melinda is an Artie Award-winning actress here in Buffalo.
How awesome!
And she is she's on the board of directors of AFTA, the new organization I'm working for. We are converting an old Episcopalian church into a performance space and community center.
How awesome is
wonderful.
that?
And so Melinda is my friend and my boss. But she also, we did Much Ado About Nothing together in Delaware Park 2 years ago. And so she is one of the most talented women I know.
Oh, wonderful.
God, I would love to. Oh, no.
Well, Buffalo has always had a very strong theater and entertainment community of amazingly talented people. Again, another Vegas thing, when I was there, one of the newspapers wrote a story because the Shinta brothers were performing at the Riviera. Dawn Church, who went to Niagara University and was a Buffalo performer. She was starring in Starlight Express at the Hilton, and I was at Debbie's Place. And they did a story called The Buffalo Connection. Of these amazing people, not to pat myself on the back, but from Buffalo. And I thought it was really nice that, because it's very true, so many talented, I mean, look at Michelle and Corinne that went on to amazing
and
careers.
Jeff Denman.
You realize
Jeffrey-
Michelle was supposed to be
Jeffrey
opening on
Denman,
Broadway.
who played Theo in Pippin at Rubens, who's been on Broadway in leading roles.
Right.
Richie Waits, who has gone on to great things.
What was that?
This guy is still working in the business.
Who is it? I can't see who it is.
That's me.
That's you?
That's
brought
that Cichocki guy, yeah.
the Broadway World Award for the Broadway World Regional Award for Best Actor in a Play. And so I did a play, a one-man show called Bright Colors, Bold Patterns, which was written by the incredible Drew Droja, who is out of Los Angeles. That is me playing Charles Dickens. I do that every year for the Alleyway Theater. I took it over from one of Michael's mentors, Neil Radis, who played the role for 31 years.
Wow.
Neil was one of Michael's mentors and one of my mentors as well. And Neil was incredibly gracious to hand this role to me after he played it for 31 years. So
he's an incredible man, and he passed the torch to you. That's incredible. Yeah.
And for him to trust me with that, and honestly, he trusted me with a lot of the original works that he wrote. At least once a season, Neil would send me a script and say, "Do you want to do this?" Like, I didn't have to read for it. There were no callbacks.
Right.
He would just hand me one of his original roles.
That's
he's an amazing man.
Yeah.
He just retired from the Alleyway after 40 years.
Wow.
But that's not going to stop him.
we had a reunion of because when I first started in dinner theater, Neil hired me in 1974 or 1975, and doing a production of The Apple Tree for one of his touring companies. And then we settled in Niagara Falls with the tabletop players. At that time, he had Mr. Anthony's. He had the tabletop players. He had the Ramada Inn in Niagara Falls and the Plaza Suite on top of One M&T Plaza downtown. He had three dinner theaters.
And Michael, didn't you work with Melick and Mime also back then?
No, I never did. I never worked. Work with Melick and Mime.
These are words I haven't heard in decades.
Yeah. So Neil had that incredible, and what an amazing director, Jim. Right, James?
Oh my God, I worked with him.
The man is an incredible director.
He's tough. He's wicked tough. I mean,
I never got to work with him.
He doesn't play around. He doesn't play around.
He doesn't. But
he's looking at his eyes on the final prize.
Right.
He's tough, but I learned so much from him in the 5 years that he directed me in shows.
Yeah, me too. And my style and when I'm directing or I'm teaching, my style comes from Neil Radis, Gail Wiegand, and Lynn Kurdziel. Lynn Kurdziel as a choreographer has to be one of the finest in the world, as far as I'm concerned.
You'd know that by her resume.
My God! And just to have the chance to have worked with her on so many shows that her style then became my style.
Sure.
In fact, James, some of the choreography we did for Hello Dolly was originally her choreography. I stole it from her.
Yeah. Oh my goodness.
Borrowed.
Speaking of learning from people, Michael, I have to tell you, much of what I learned from you, and I learned a lot from you. as far as performing and giving energy to the audience and throwing energy towards the audience and throwing your energy and keeping your energy, has stood me in really good stead, especially when I was working in the Diamond Horseshoe show as Sam the bartender. Just something as simple as that, and keeping it there and throwing that energy out at the audience is something that's stuck in my mind over and over. And that's what that was a very Disney thing, by the way. So a lot of that stuck with me. Well, all of it stuck with me, and I'd like to thank you for that publicly. While I've got
you're welcome. But I think it's that circle of life, so to speak. We all learn from each other, and then we carry those things onto our next show or the next group of people we're working with. And so what you got from me, I got from other people, and and then you're transferring that to others. So it's just that circle where we're all learning from each other.
And you'll be happy to know each time I've ever directed a show, you've come up. Your name has actually come up. I said, my friend MIchael LARocca would have said this. And they all say, who? And James.
And I mentioned that Neil Radis was a recent mentor, but honestly, Michael was my first theatrical mentor. He kind of took me under his wing when I was 16 years old, and
you have to keep bringing that up. All right, but
I mean, a lot of what and Neil has actually complained because a lot of what I do is very presentational. And sometimes that's just not appropriate. But Michael was honestly my first genuine theatrical mentor. I had done like community theater and high school theater and all of that, but Michael you were genuinely my first professional theater mentor who taught me what it is like. And I'm glad that I got that early on to learn how to and maintain yourself in a professional atmosphere. I left Buffalo a few years after that, and I did 5 bus and trucks, and I couldn't have been able to do that. I did those when I was 18 years old. Wow. I couldn't have done that if I hadn't have had the training that you provided as my mentor.
Thank you.
So I would, and here I am at 53. I would not be working today if you had not given me the background that you did.
And Neil Radis gave it to me when I was 15 years old, and I started with him.
And now we sing the circle of life.
Phrase that in a different way, Michael. Could you? The under the stage.
Neil Radis put me in a show, and I was able to perform.
So James,
you were the best damn dainty June I've ever seen.
Wasn't I?
I have to ask James just very quickly. Did you learn anything under the stage, waiting to go on for Dolly?
I learned a lot of things off stage from the people I worked with at Rubens.
And leaving it at that.
That's probably the best place to leave it. Now, Mike, here's an interesting segue coming from the 16-year-old. Anyways, Michael, you did something very unique. As I recall, you worked for the Catholic Church. Mm-hmm. Not that that's all that unique, but what you did may have been unique. Could you elaborate? By the way, folks, the Catholic Church in Las Vegas, Nevada.
Yes. Well, wow, look at that bottle of wine.
Yeah, I needed a refill for this story, honey.
In 2001, I didn't have health insurance at the time. And I had pneumonia in both lungs. And it got really bad. And I thought that, what? Why are you laughing?
I'm laughing because my friend Stuart Main, who is in Japan, just commented, nice segue.
Oh. Well, James got the wine out. It was a perfect segue. So I got pneumonia in both lungs, and they thought I was going to die. We actually thought it might have been pneumocystis pneumonia, the AIDS-related pneumonia, but it wasn't. But they had to do a surgical procedure where they went through my throat to flush out my lungs. It was so bad. And my vocal cords were damaged in the process. And that's why I sound now like Harvey Firestein. So after I had been singing at the cathedral in Las Vegas prior to that, and they just got a new bishop in, and they said, well, with your theatrical background and all, would you be interested in coordinating all of Bishop's masses for him? And the term Master of Ceremonies is actually a religious term. It's not a theatrical term. It started in the 400s under one of the popes. And the Master of Ceremonies is the person who coordinates the masses for the popes and the bishops. Each bishop in the United States has a Master of Ceremonies. Most of them are priests or deacons. I was only one of 3 lay people to hold that position. So I coordinated everything for him outside of the cathedral, inside of the cathedral, for television. We did a huge mass for all the cardinals of the United States. And the theatrical side of me came out. I had 160 people in the procession, including the Knights of Columbus. We had a 60-member choir and an orchestra. I mean, I was able to actually, and Bishop Pepe used to say it was liturgical theater.
Wait. Bishop Pepe?
Yes, that was his name.
Okay. I'm sorry. I find that amusing. I'm sorry.
Yeah, originally from Philadelphia.
Well, was there a kick line?
At times, but only during communion.
Okay, and while we're stopped, Stuart, here is your segue. Michael was only one of 3 lay people. Back in the day, he used to lay people.
There it is again. That is a fascinating, really a fascinating.
I really enjoyed my work, but because I was able to still produce for television, it was working with the music and and staging everything. I won an award for one of the midnight masses that we produced for TV, and it combined my spirituality with my theatrical experience, which was really nice for a time. In 2010, 10 years ago, my partner had moved in with me.
That was about the time that we actually connected again on Facebook, as a matter of fact.
My partner at the time had moved in with me, and the church didn't like that. So I was put under investigation. I had to go through all these meetings. The vicar general of the diocese at the time was the one who was kind of instigating this whole thing. He didn't think it was right for me, for somebody who was so close to the bishop, to be publicly out and living with another man. So they got rid of me. They told me to leave. Bye-bye.
I remember when that happened. Actually.
It was pretty devastating emotionally. My assistant, who took over for me when I left, he just passed away a couple of months ago. And before he passed away, his wife got in touch with me and said, he's so sorry for all that happened to you during that time period. So it was nice we kind of made up before he passed away. But at that time, that vicar general, 6 months later, was under investigation from the FBI because he had embezzled close to $1 million from his parish in the diocese to fulfill his gambling habits. So Bishop kind of listened to the wrong person at the time. And then I renounced my Catholicism, a Roman Catholicism, and became Episcopalian because the church really needs to come up with the times. And if you really knew behind the scenes and how many gay men are priests, unbelievable. funny kind of story. I went to a National Cathedral conference in Seattle one year, and I was with a priest friend who happened to be gay. And I don't care if priests are gay or straight if they're fulfilling their obligation to be celibate. That's
it's the same thing.
No matter what their orientation is. Yeah. So, but we walked into the first night reception, and everybody was in sweaters. It was January in Seattle, and people were in sweaters and jeans, and it was very casual. And we walked in, and I turned to this priest I was with, and I said, "What gay bar are we in?" And the next morning, 90% of those men were all in their collars, all in clerics.
My dear friend Jack just said, you were saying there's so many gay priests.
Yes.
He says, and you said, and she said, yes, I do. And nuns were lesbians.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah. In fact, I remember, Michael, and I will never forget this as long as I live, a young priest, what do they call a new priest?
An ordained priest?
Yeah. Well, he was
ordained?
newer to the, thank you. He was newer to the business. And he was actually assigned to my parish in Williamsville, to St. Peter and Paul in Williamsville. And he was a, how do I put this without sounding terrible? He was a friend of yours. Yes. I don't remember his name to save my life, but met him at Rubens one day, and I almost had a stroke because at that point, again, I was still very young and did not realize that could happen.
Was that when I was playing Jesus and Godspell and dating a priest at the same time?
That might have been. I hate to say it. But
so, Michael,
yeah,
AFTA, my new project, is done through the Episcopalian parish.
Nice.
They still own the church that we're working on, and one of our board members is the Reverend Kathy Dempsey Sims, who is a married lesbian, who is a reverend in the Episcopalian parish here in Western New York.
Right. It's the Episcopal Church. I mean, gay couples can get married in the church. It's very welcoming, very open. At the Episcopal Cathedral downtown, the pride flag hangs during the month of June. So it's very open and very welcoming to. You can be ordained if you're open. You can be married, and it's very welcoming. And so when I renounced my Roman Catholicism, which I had to do kind of formally because of the position that I had held within the church, finding the Episcopal Church was really a big blessing for me spiritually. To be able to, because really the Mass is almost identical. And it took me a little bit because my first pastor was a woman, and it took me a few times to get used to a female up there.
Yes.
But she was such an amazing preacher. Her homilies were amazing. And I got used to it very quickly. So
I was raised Catholic also. Yeah. And I love the pageantry, and I love, going to the Mass during the holidays, and you can my mother, God rest her, used to recite everything in Latin along with the Mass. Yeah. But now in the Episcopalian parish, you can love Jesus and be queer.
Yeah.
Well, it's a wonderful. I landed. I was away from the church I was Catholic as well, raised Catholic as well, but. Actually had a wonderful Monsignor Nelson Logel, an amazing man who was the head of the church at St. Peter and Paul, who I came out to. First person I ever really came out to. Well, was one of the first people. Wait. And he said, and he looks at me right in the eye. This guy was an older, much older man. Old. He was old. But he looked at me right in the eye and said, so what, are you shacking up with this guy or what? And I go, well, no. He says, listen. He says, don't worry about it. It's okay. And he did. I swear to God he did. And he says, it's okay. He says, come back. Join us. Don't stay away so long next time. And, there was a lovely thing that he said. But still, everybody in the church, did not. There's a lot of lapsed Catholics out there. Jack says, laughing.
Yes.
But I couldn't. But again, going back, I'm still hearing, "Oh, you're bad, you're evil, you're horrible." I landed with the MCC Church down here in Orlando, the Metropolitan Community Church,
Right.
Joy MCC, Reverend Terry Steed, who's a lady Baptist lesbian preacher, married to a lovely, lovely lady who happens to be a lady of color, a lovely lady, and it took me a little bit to get used to that too, Michael. Let me tell you.
Yeah.
She's a woman.
And so, are the three of us lapsed Catholics who are still Christian?
Yes.
How is that possible? Oh my
All three
God.
of us, right?
Yes, indeed.
Yeah.
There we go.
But I think the word Christian, I like to believe that there's two ways of saying Christian. They're saying I'm a Christian, and they're saying I'm a Christian. I have two hands up.
I consider myself a progressive Christian now.
Fair enough.
We all just focus on love one another.
Yes.
It's just that simple.
I've
It's
had to
just
debate
that
this so many
simple.
times. If homosexuality was such an important issue to Jesus, and as Christians, his teachings are what we follow, I think he would have mentioned it. And in the books of the New Testament, especially in the first four, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, not a mention of the word at all. The references are in the Old Testament and something that St. Paul says in one of his epistles. But there's a book, and any gay person out there that is struggling with your Christianity, there's a book called Rescuing the Bible from Fundamentalism, and it was written by Bishop Spong. He's a Episcopal bishop. And the way he analyzes and explains all of these things, it's absolutely amazing. So there are ways to be able to be a good Christian and gay and not call yourself a Christian and support certain presidents. But
we do not get political.
Okay.
We do not get political, no matter how big an asshole he is. Anyways, that is as political as I've ever gotten by saying what I just said. Yeah, no, I hear you. And you know, I agree, Michael, and I think that was a lovely thing you just said. Wow. Wow. What else have I got here? There's so much. We could go on ad nauseum. We really could.
Oh, sure.
No doubt.
I have something because I need to get Jame Cichocki on record. I have been back in Buffalo now 5 years. After I lost the singing voice, I was going to put my show back together, and there's no more scar tissue left. So if I go through speech therapy and vocal classes, I could start singing again. But you know, I'm 62 now, so who wants to get on stage at 62 and kick your legs to Jesus?
But Michael, there is so much more work you could do.
I know. Yeah, no, I know.
You were such a tremendous actor. Even if you never sang again, you could do drama and comedy.
Sure.
You're one of the funny.
Yeah.
You taught me how to be funny, Michael.
Oh, thank you.
You don't need to sing anymore. I don't sing anymore.
Yeah, absolutely.
Trust me. You boys have heard my voice. I was that charming young tenor back when you met me. Now I sound like the love child of B. Arthur and Harvey Firestein. Thank you, Camel Lights. I don't do musical theater anymore.
Right.
I do drama and I do comedy, and I learned how to do both of those in a lot of ways from you. So you could do what I do in a heartbeat. You could easily play my father, Michael.
Oh, thank you, James.
You know, James, he lives in the same city you do. He could find you. I'm just saying. I'm safe. I'm in Florida. Don't nobody want to come to fucking Florida right now. Trust me.
Honestly, wouldn't you come to see Michael and I play Mame and Vera?
Oh, yeah. In a heartbeat. In a heartbeat. In fact, I'm going to tell you something, guys.
But I'm playing Mame.
Yeah. You could.
We can do it in repertory.
Don't
We
even
can
know
do it
that.
in repertory and switch roles every night.
I want to,
Oh.
there are so many wonderful female roles out there. I still want to play Mama Rose. It's like for a guy to not have that opportunity to play that role, which is one of the most incredible roles in musical theater.
I mean, honestly, sitting in between you on the screen, I feel like Richard Benjamin in the Sunshine Boys.
Yes. Well, what can you do? We
And
get
oh,
old,
Sarah Brayton died.
we get old, we get sick, we take more pills, and we die. I mean, that's just the way it is.
Jack Ledoux, my friend Jack Ledoux, and I got to tell you something. Jack is freaking amazing. She's an amazing performer who I've been very lucky to work with on many different occasions. She just said, "Phooey, I'm 67 years old and still performing. Go, Michael." And I say the same thing. I'm 50 freaking 8. Okay, I'm gonna be. My God, I'm gonna be 59 in October. I'll be a son of a bitch. But here's the thing. I have retired twice now. Well, 3 times. Once when I came back from Japan and just couldn't get around for a while, and then I was walking again and getting around, and I auditioned for a show, and damned if I didn't get it. It was called Wind Up 1957, about a gay bar in 1957 California. A great, wonderful play. I played in the second act. My lover from the first act got killed in a mugging, and the whole second act was about that. And it's a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful thing. And then I said, okay, that's it, because I could not remember. My lines, forget it. It was very hard to keep them. Then they were doing One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, and I said, oh my God, I'd so like to do that. But I figured I would just play some guy, one of the cuckoos. Oh no, I played one of the cuckoos, but it was the cuckoo who talked like a lot. So, which was great.
Well, and
I got through it. Yeah.
Joe, you worked with my old friend Wes Miles.
Oh my God!
Wes and I worked.
Know this.
Wes and I worked together in Houston. He played the lead. We did a panto production of Pinocchio, and Wes played the lead. And it was an equity theater that I worked at. I was the house manager and special events coordinator.
Wes played my son in a show called Daddy Issues, which was hysterical. It really was. It was nothing like what you're thinking, guys. I'm telling you right now.
And we're both just laughing.
It was a Jewish family who has a gay son who's putting one over on us that he's not. That he's got a girlfriend, and it turns out he's got a kid. Turns out maybe he didn't have a kid, but he does have a kid. It's a whole crazy thing.
And he had daddy issues.
Yes. Oh, he had weird issues, and daddy, and then daddy comes around and all this stuff. But and Jack was in that with me as well. And Wes played my son. I'll be a son of a bitch.
Yeah.
And why the hell didn't that ever come up before?
A small world. Yeah, Wes and I worked together. I guess it was 2010 or 11, maybe. He went to Sam Houston State University in Houston, and he played the lead in Panto Pinocchio at Stages Repertory Theater, which was a Lort level equity theater that I worked at and doing admin.
That's a riot.
I wanted to corner Jame Cichocki because for the last 5 years, I have invited him to my Thanksgiving dinner, and he hasn't come.
Are you out of your fucking mind, James?
And there were times a couple Thanksgivings where he was home alone, and he still wouldn't come to my home.
Okay, so Thanksgiving, since I've been back in Buffalo, I've run the turkey trot every year. It's an 8K, and at 53 years old, I still bring it in under an hour. Thank you. Thank you.
Can you ride a motorcycle for that? Because I could do it then.
Bitch. I also love the parade. I love seeing our friend Gil Golden. who plays Mrs. Santa every year in the Macy's parade. Every year, it's always been my tradition that every year I watch the parade. I love Gail. I decorate my house that morning, and then I watch the dog show, and then I watch the parade again because I love Christmas that much.
Oh,
Well, I do too, but
and I have a senior dog, and we spend our time alone, you know.
oh dear Lord, he's an old queen that lives with his dog and doesn't want to go out of the house.
it's not cats, okay? Let's just be cats. You know?
Looking at Pippin and Barnaby right now.
Yes, I know. Well, but yeah, I know.
I promise I will come and see you and Kenny and Pippin and Barnaby very, very soon.
You know what we should do is like sometime between Thanksgiving and Christmas, we'll, get together. And hopefully COVID
I want to see your decorations.
Yeah.
Okay. As soon as this thing is over, as soon as this thing is over, I am coming up to Buffalo. And if I don't get to see both of you, I will be so very upset. I really will. But I don't anticipate any problems with making that happen. But I am coming up. I have to. I've got so much. My roots are there, so I have to come up.
See, I was in Las Vegas and my mom was getting very sick and she was in Arizona and she said, would you come to Arizona to help your dad and me? Because I really can't do much. So I moved back to Arizona and I helped my mom. And then after she passed away, actually before she passed away, I said, I really want to go home. I want to go back to Buffalo. I had been gone for 28 years and I just wanted to be home. And it feels so wonderful. People say, Audrey, for the snow, I love the snow. When you're in 115 degrees out in the desert, you appreciate the snow. So, and the architecture here, you can't beat it.
You're absolutely right. It's an amazing city. You're right.
I was gone for 26 years.
Yeah.
I was gone from 88 to 2014. And I moved back right before Snowvember. So it was like the worst winter in history. I love it here.
Yeah.
I love it here. I feel like I'm home again.
Yes,
I'm glad you guys like that so much. I'll stick with where I am. Although the temptation is there. We went to visit Chris's mom in Ohio, and I would move to the Ohio Valley that fast. It's a beautiful area. I'm not sure I can take the snow. I'm really not.
Yeah.
In a long time. And that's what Richie is saying. But the snow.
No, Richard.
Yeah. And Vicky Blazik.
That's my partner's sister.
Shouted out your name here with big exclamation. Well, actually with L's all over the end of it.
It's funny. My partner's sister is a lesbian and she lives with her girlfriend. So
awesome.
Yeah, I'm hoping they get married soon.
I've got to tell you, wow. We have gone we've gone a little over, which is fine. Great. Because I kind of planned for that. And it's been a sheer delight.
Yes, it really has. It's been so much fun.
And the people.
I love you both. I hope you know that.
Right back at you.
I love you both with all my heart. I love you both for 30-something years now.
Don't do that.
Oh,
Stop it. Stop
sorry.
it. I have so many wonderful memories of both of you and all those marvelous people at Rubens. Now, next week was going to be Michelle Ragusa, but Michelle has to teach that night. Michelle, thank God, Michelle got a job teaching.
Yeah,
virtually teaching voice of all the people to learn from. Oh, good Lord. So she has to teach that night. So we may or may not. Well, unless you guys want to come back. Do you want to come back?
Sure.
Oh my God. We have so much more content,
Oh
don't
my
we,
God!
Michael?
I think we could do another hour. I
I
think we
haven't
could do
even
another
scratched
hour.
the surface.
In fact,
We could
Yeah.
even add maybe someone else from our past.
Ah,
Maybe like Paula or Corky or.
well, I'll tell you what. I'll tell you what, James. Find me one, okay? Find me. Here's the deal, folks. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm making the announcement right now. Next week's show will be Back to Buffalo 2. Back to Buffalo and Beyond 2, which is why I called tonight Back to Buffalo and Beyond 1, because I kind of had a sneaking suspicion this would happen. Now that I've got confirmation that, wait, I got to point the other way.
Yeah.
These two over here will come back.
and next week, folks, we'll be talking about our sex life and boyfriends.
We can do that. We can do that. We can definitely do that. I don't see any reason not.
In my case, we don't have that much time.
Michael, I had a porn star on a couple of weeks ago. Okay, a former porn star I would love for you to go on YouTube and watch the show. Seriously,
Okay,
because
I'm friends with Stormy Daniels. Do you know that?
I did not know that.
Yeah.
I did not know that.
She started following me on Twitter.
Give her a call and tell her to prosecute that son of a bitch.
And they once performed on a battleship back in '86.
Yes, and
It had nothing to do with
under the
musical
stage.
theater, though.
It was weird. So we've got James and Michael back next week, and I can't tell you how excited I am about that. I'm
That's fun.
thrilled.
I had a great time. This was
Now, James,
incredible.
I'm going to give you the responsibility of finding us that other person.
Oh man!
Can you do it?
I know 3 ways are easy, 4 ways are a little bit tough, but I'm sure you could do it.
I'm willing to bet on it, and I'm willing to bet Paula would jump on this.
If
We can
anyone
talk about
can schedule a 4-way, I got this.
There you go, guys. God, freaking awesome, and so
Thank you.
from Melinda. Listen, by the way, if you have any pull in any of the Buffalo groups, online groups, Facebook groups, tell them I'm real and the show is real and we're doing some great stuff here, and to let me in so I can tell people of Buffalo that we're doing this on Facebook.
Excellent.
Are we posting this all over the Rubens website?
Yes, it's on the Rubens website.
Okay.
I think I did. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I did. Yeah, I'm pretty sure
I did it on my personal and my professional pages. I did it on both.
So I want as many people to find this show as possible, because I think
I scrawled it all over the walls of every gay bar in Buffalo.
considering we're in the middle of all this shit, I'm sure lots of people saw that too.
It's Buffalo.
Yeah.
Both of them. Hi guys. Yeah, trust me, I'm in Orlando. Oh God, yeah, I'm in Orlando. No, Orlando's a wonderful place. Don't get me wrong.
I love you guys so much.
And listen, if ever you can come down, please do. Don't bother me.
I did 3 pageants there in Orlando.
It doesn't surprise me at all.
Seminole County pageants. Yeah, preliminaries for Miss America.
That was Seminole County is over there. We're down here.
Yeah.
We're over here.
And I danced the pole for like 3 months in Orlando, but I had to
Was
pay
that
my
you?
rent. Yeah, rent, baby.
There you go. Boys, gentlemen, and my dear friends, thank you so much.
Thank you.
For being here.
I love you.
Gentlemen,
Thank you so much.
I love you both so much.
Love you
And
too.
Mr. Jame Cichocki, thank you. And we're going to see you next week, 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, right here. Same bat time, same bat channel. Bye-bye, everybody.
Good night.
Black Lives Matter.
There you go, folks. We're going to have these guys back next week, and I couldn't be any more excited about it. How far is Orlando from Fort Lauderdale, Richie? We're about 2 hours, give or take. How do I know that? Because I go there frequently. Not lately. So not far at all, actually. Not far at all. So, and we're excited. We're excited. Next week we're going to have another show with these 2 amazing gentlemen and 2 others awesome, because that means I don't have to redo anything for next week except a little bit of editing on the ad. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. So long. God bless. And don't forget, tomorrow, 11 to 1 o'clock, we're going to be at Plaza Live with Feed the Need. I'm going to be down there tomorrow. Come and say hi. Please come and say hi. I love you. And look for the helpers, okay? Because they're out there. They're helping. When you find them, join them. Because you know what? Ain't no better feeling. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye. So long.